Hello everyone, and welcome to the Home and Harvest YouTube channel. If you're here, then you're here to learn how to make a floral jelly, or maybe you're just here for moral support, and if that's the case, thank you. So this is actually kind of a newer hobby for me, but I'm learning as I go, and I think I've got a recipe down pat. So if you're anything like me, I'm terrible at remembering recipes. But I figured out a little trick to this one. It's just called the 3 recipe in my mind. It's 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, you just pick some blossoms. Of course, find out if they're edible first. So what I have here are some locust tree blossoms in here. And then in this one are some wisteria blossoms with some wild rose blossoms mixed in because I couldn't get enough wisteria. And do you know how many cups are in here? That's right, 3. So 3 cups of blossoms in here. Just picked the green parts off, dropped them in, and then 3 cups of boiling water in there. And so that's the first 2 threes. You leave it in here for 3 hours. So 3 cups of blossoms, 3 cups of boiling water, 3 hours. Now, I've had a hard time this week keeping up with everything that's going on, so this one's more like 33 hours, but it's still good to go. It's been sitting in the fridge, smells wonderful. So we got this ready and this ready. I'm going to do one at a time, probably only one of them on video because it's the same process. So the first thing you're going to need is a measuring cup, a filter because we don't want the blossoms, and then I already have all my jars set out on the counter. You can't see them, but they've already been in the boiling water. They're cleaned and sterilized. They're ready to pour into. There's nothing in the way. Because, at least for me, the jelly making gets a little bit crazy. It's just like, it's such a quick process, and you got to make sure you get the boiling perfect, get the pouring nice. You don't want to spill it all over your counter, or that's not fun. So, try to get everything laid out and ready. I also have my sugar ready. Sometimes I've used honey, but last time I had some trouble with the settings, so this time I'm just going with sugar because I need success on video, of course. And so we'll start out here. Just get my filter. I'm going to set that on top of my measuring cup and then just dump this in. Okay, go ahead and dump the whole thing, and then I just give a little squish. Make sure I get all that liquid out. And at this point, a lot of times I discover that I don't really have as much as I wanted, and I may end up using both jars and mix the 2 flavors together. It's about 2.5, so I'm going to go with it. Okay, so here we go. You probably can't tell in the video, but it's not the most beautiful color. Fortunately, I add a little lemon juice. You need that. You need some acidity to make the pectin work. So that's actually one thing I didn't get ready. I got that right over here though. Okay, so I got the lemon. Go ahead and cut this and squeeze it in. Do it over the filter so we don't get any seeds in there. Alright, there we go. Give it a little mix. Now often if you're making a jelly out of blossoms, the lemon for some reason really makes the color pop. With this one it's still not a whole lot better, but with violet jelly it makes it this beautiful purplish blue. It's really awesome. So I added my lemon, got my pot ready. I think you can see that, yep. And I'm going to go ahead and get this turned on and turned up, and we can actually go ahead and pour this in here. Okay, now we also need a box of pectin. You can do this with gelatin too, but I'm just not cool with meat in my jelly. To each his own. So here's the Sure Gel pectin here. I noticed last time, for some reason, I did it right, but it didn't set perfectly, so you could also go for the pink box, which is a low sugar one. I'm going to try again with the yellow box because I prefer that. I'm using the right amount of sugar. I'm not substituting anything, so it should be fine. I can go ahead and add this in. So again, I told you I'm not very good with recipes, so I don't like to think too much about it. I'm just pouring the whole box in. Now, if I was actually following the recipe, I do remember that you need a little bit less than 1 whole box if you have less than 3 cups, but I'm not too worried about it, and I want it to set. So you can go ahead and add that in too now, and go ahead and give that a little mix. Make sure it's all blended in there. It's actually really pretty pink now. Okay, so while that's warming up, I'm just going to give you a quick reminder. So you're like, is the recipe in the comments? I've already forgotten. It's not hard. 3 cups of blossoms, 3 cups of boiling water, 3 hours. Okay, piece of cake. Anybody can do that. Then you're filtering it through, getting that liquid. So now it's an infusion. You pour that infusion in there, 1 cup of pectin, and now we're good to go. Okay, so now I can actually be getting my sugar ready. I'm going to need, oh yeah, by the way, do you know how much lemon I put in? I put 3 teaspoons. So there's another number 3. If you're trying to keep up with measurements, it's just 3, 3, 3, 3. So how much sugar do I need? You already got it in your brain, I'm sure. 3 cups of sugar. Okay, so somewhere around here I have my cup. It's way over there behind the camera. Okay, so now I'm not going to put this in yet. We don't want the sugar in yet. But I'm going to go ahead and have it open and ready because it's kind of a quick process. Got my water in there, my pectin. It's not doing anything yet. Make sure I'm on high. Cool. Okay, so now it's just the waiting game. You'll notice at the end of this video when it really gets going, and if this is your first time, a lot of people, they want to seal their jars, and you can do that, I think, by pressure canning or with a water bath. I've always done the water bath method, and I don't even have the nice rack or the nice tongs. I just am kind of winging it in a like a pressure cooker pot, and I just have the really hot water in there. I set it down in there with some tongs, kind of. It's not the most beautiful dropping into the water, but it works out. So you don't have to have all the fancy materials to do this. As you can see, everything we've used so far, pretty much everybody has in their kitchen. Okay, now we're getting into some action here. So it's very important, the way that I messed up before is not getting this all the way up to a hard boil. We want it to be a hard boil before we do anything. We'll add our 3 cups of sugar, stir that in, and then one minute solid of hard boiling. That's not a rolling boil with bubbles. This is hard where you can't even control it. That's why I use this big old stock pot. Because chemically, it's just not going to set up perfectly for you if you don't do that. Okay, so now I wish you could see this, but I'm not moving the camera right now. It's too crazy for me. But it's getting up to this rolling boil now. I'm going to go ahead and start adding my sugar. So 3 cups. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, you'll notice that the boiling goes down. You know, you added a bunch of volume to it. We're going to go ahead and stir that in. Now, some of you might have seen how much sugar I put in that and thought, that is a lot of sugar. It is a lot of sugar, but you also have to keep in mind that, I don't know about you, but I don't eat spoonfuls of jelly, so just put a little bit on your bread in the morning or on your biscuit at night, and it's really not so much. It's much less than a cookie, so we're good to go. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so now I'm watching this carefully. As soon as it gets to a really hard boil, like it's rising up, I can't control it, I'm going to be stirring constantly, and I'm actually going to set a timer on my microwave because I messed this up enough to know that I like to stick with it. Meanwhile, I'm just looking around, making sure my jars are all ready and nothing's going to get in the way. Go ahead and get the sugar out of the way. We're to a rolling boil, but we want a hard boil. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to set a timer and then just keep stirring. Now don't worry, whenever I start pouring into the jars, I'll move the camera for that part because you want to see this pretty color poured in there. And I don't know, there's just something satisfying after you've watched a man jabber on for several minutes to actually see the product being poured in. Now a lot of people at this point, whenever this minute goes up here in a few seconds, we'll take out a cold spoon and test it to make sure it's really set up. You just take your spoon, I keep it in ice water, shake it off, and then dip it in there. Okay, remove it from the heat. And then we'll hold the spoon sideways and take a look at it. And if it's sitting on the spoon solid, then you know you did the right thing. So I didn't really do that, but this spoon is already a little chilled. Okay, yep, we're good to go. So like I said, make sure you use a stock pot. The first time I did this, I did it on a much smaller pot, and it got out of control, went over. We had some burnt sugar on the burner for a while. Wasn't a pretty sight. Okay, so I have this spoon sitting over here, and I'm just seeing if it's gelling. Yeah, it's setting up. So I can show you probably. You can see this is a spoonful, and there is a little bit of dripping right there, but a lot of it's hanging on. And as it's cooling down, it's getting thicker. So that's what you're looking for. And tasting it in your mouth, you can feel it gelling. So I'll go ahead and turn off the burner. If actually at that point I'm not seeing that it's gelling up, then I'll just go ahead and put it back on the burner, add some more pectin, stir that in, and just do a full minute again. Did it last time, works pretty well. Okay, so now you're going to be looking at your mixture. You'll probably notice that there's a little bit of film on the top, so you'll want to skim that off. I wasn't prepared to do that on the video, but that's okay. We'll just wing it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this skimmed. Sometimes it doesn't do a whole lot of it, but we definitely don't want that in the jelly. It's just this. There we go. And somebody scientific should come along and tell me in the comments why it does that. I don't really know. But I've put it in the jars before just because I was being lazy and it didn't cause any problems. It just isn't as pretty. And of course you want these pretty. Okay, so now I'll get the camera pointed down at the jars for you. Okay, so you can probably see that pretty well. You'll notice as I'm pouring, I didn't do a great job at skimming just because I didn't feel like taking the time, but all you do is, I just pour straight from the pot. It's not hard to do. And then just leave it a little bit of room to set. Isn't that pretty? Looks good, yeah. Okay, I think this recipe will do 5 8-ounce jars. Yep, perfect. Okay, and that's it. Now you just go ahead and put your lids on, do your water bath or your pressure canning method. You'll have to look up a video on how to do that because I'm not very good at it. Still working out my method there. But hopefully you can remember that easy recipe. Just remember 3-3-3 all the way. And if I can do it, you definitely can. Alright, thanks. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.